The Diamondbacks have successfully climbed Mount 500 and currently sit at 14-13 on the regular season, winning their last four games in a sweep against the finishing off the sweep against the Marlins and then taking game one against the Colorado Rockies. Anyway, what kind of stood out, game two obviously is the Marlins series filled out the same script as game one. D-backs quickly took a 5-0 lead, got good starting pitching. Bullpen late gave up a 4 spot in the 7th, and then held on for the rest of the way. Pavin Smith hit a home run in that game as well. So it's like Miami native returns to Miami and has a big series. We call that pulling a Chris Young, except not in Houston. So then after that, the third game was a little bit tumultuous. Obviously, everyone's had plenty of time to stew on the Dan Bellino ejecting Madison Bumgarner after the first inning. So I won't rehash it here. In that game, Corbin Martin did a pretty good job filling in 2 runs in 4 innings. Of course, now his reward was getting sent back to AAA. D-backs could call up a fresh arm. Well, get Melanson off the injured list. Then Josh Rojas also coming off the injured list, and that his roster spot went to Sergio Alcantara, who just couldn't quite hit enough to stick around despite having a decent series against the Marlins. The situation where the organization clearly is trying. I think they're going to try and get at bats for Perdomo at the major league level as opposed to pretty much gluing Alcantara to the bench. You'll see Perdomo at second, short, and third base. So in the middle of that game, obviously Diamondbacks were able to jump ahead, and despite trailing 3-0, they put up a 5 spot in the 4th. A walk, a double. They had a 2-run triple by Alcantara, which would be his last meaningful hit as a Diamondback. Would score on another base hit. I think that was Perdomo that tied it. The game-tying hit. Perdomo base hit that ties it at 3-3, and then Daulton Varsho launches a home run, make it 5-3. So of course the Diamondbacks bullpen's been a bit leaky due to overuse from the middle guys having to pitch some high leverage middle guys having to pitch high leverage innings. So as a result, I think you got to see those guys kind of wore down. You saw it with Ramirez in game 1, then that happened as well in the second game, where they were struggling to get that last out, although they were able to keep the lead in game 2 of that series. And then in the third game, the bullpen just broke. Up 5-3, they gave up up 5-3 going into the 7th. They give up a run. 5-4, 6-3. That's what the lead the D-backs had. Give up 2 in the 7th, which made it now 6-5. 2 in the 8th. Well, in the 8th inning runs were really bad because it was preventable kind of situation with better defense. And also a pretty lucky hit as well. Get that inning on a pitch that was way high, way outside. Ended up squirting through the infield, and then wild pitch with the fastest runner on the Marlins lineup. D-backs fans are familiar with that guy, Chaz Chisholm, scoring what could have been potentially the winning run there. But Diamondbacks don't quit. That's one thing you know. Nah. Their best 2 hitters, Varsho and Pavin Smith. Which to me, if you know my history in talking about Pavin Smith, I haven't been a fan of the guy, but hey, he's having a good year right now to this point. I'm hoping that this is the new normal, because the team certainly could use a good quality bat in their lineup. So then Varsho gets a hit, and then Smith gets a meatball slider at the belt, and just one times it and hits an absolute moonshot off the column just inside the right field pole for a 2-run homer. That gave the D-backs an 8-7 lead. Ian Kennedy locks down the save 1-2-3, his best performance in probably his most effective performance in 10 years. So the D-backs were able to pick up 3 1-run wins against the Marlins, although unnecessary. But hey, win them. If you got to play those 1-run games, you might as well win them. 5-3 in those games. D-backs did not get their 5th win until in the 1-run situation until the end of July last year. So that's a much better improvement in that situation. Now we go to the first series of the first game of the Rockies series. We'll be covering this weekend. So Chad Kuhl facing off against Merrill Kelly. Both pitchers have been fantastic this season coming into this game. No surprise, it was a 1-1 game for most of it. CJ Cron had a RBI double. D-backs took advantage of a Ketel Marte double and drive home a run. It was a situation where I think with the better bat, when the first 3 at-bats were good. So single by Rojas by being the shift. Then being the shift, Josh Rojas is a little single in the left center. Del Marte hits a double. That puts second, third, nobody out. Seth Beer able to hit a fly ball to right field. Although I think Randall Gritchett was probably better off not catching that because of how bad Beer's been slumping the last 2 weeks. But Gritchett catches it anyway, which makes it easy for the D-backs to score and then move a runner up. And that was a situation where the D-backs needed a ball in play. Unfortunately, they got a strikeout with a runner at third and 1 out. Didn't score any further. That would be the scoring for the first 7 innings between the 2 teams. But the Diamondbacks would actually take the advantage after the Rockies were failed to score a leadoff double, which was a bouncing ball that was over the head of a drawn-in third baseman in the top of the 8th. But the D-backs were able to take advantage in the 8th. Second batter of the inning, Daulton Varsho, turns of 98 mile an hour fastball up here. Bang! 108. 108 to right center. That ball was still climbing when it hit the seats. So I gave the Diamondbacks the lead. I was thinking out loud, Daulton Varsho has a thing for dramatic homers. And this game is tied. And then as soon as I finished the sentence, he left the yard. And then 2 more critical at bats. I think what goes on here, D-backs take the lead, but then they tack on. And something that's kind of plagued them in previous games where they would take a lead, but then they had to hold on to dear life because they couldn't tack on. They were able to tack on. There, Pavin Smith hits a rocket up the middle, 97 miles an hour apparently. It felt like it was 107 based on sound and trajectory. But hey, another hard hit ball for Pavin Smith. Then a hit, rewarded with a hit. And then Peralta jumps ahead in the count, 2-0. Gets a couple fastballs to hit. He swings aggressively at both of them. Second one, he doesn't. He completely destroyed it. You didn't even have camera didn't even have to pan out. You knew it was gone just on the quality of contact, just on the swing and how loud the ball sounded. You just knew it was gone off the bat. So then that home run gave the D-backs a 3-run lead, which I think was important. I think it changed the way that Lavelle was going to manage the 9th inning. Instead of having Merrill Kelly pitch in 2, they probably would have gone to Melanson in a 2-1 game and let him start with an empty slate. But they decided to go with the Merrill Kelly with a 3-run lead. The idea of 1-2-3 inning or we'll pull you. So Kelly comes in, long at bat against CJ Cron. I posted the comments like, just strike out already. Next pitch, he blows a fastball by him. Next batter, he puts away a little bit easier, gets another strikeout. Gets McMahon to fish at a changeup in the dirt, and that's been a pitch that I think that's made Merrill Kelly. The difference between him being a number 4 star his first 3 years versus probably being a number 3. Of course, what is a number 3 when you talk about that? But it's Merrill Kelly's obviously a guy that'll give you innings, as I mentioned in the season preview. He'll probably lead the team in innings pitched. He's a guy that you can count on for 180 innings a year, barring COVID. So yeah, Kelly ended up finishing 1 out short of a complete game. They got a couple 2-out base hits off of him, so Lavelle went to Mark Melanson with a tying run at the plate. Sam Hilliard up. That was a pitch around. I don't think Melanson's probably thinking, okay, I'm going to have a favorable matchup with the next hitter. So what if I walk this guy? So what if I walk this guy? I got right-handed hitter. My cutter's going to probably play up against him. My stuff plays better against this guy. So they basically toyed around with Hilliard. They ended up running a full count, and Melanson barely messed with a cutter. Next batter, he jumped ahead. He got a favorable strike call in the first pitch, and then second pitch, Iglesias hit a rocket back up the middle, but it hit Melanson in the thigh. What would have been a rocket up the middle, impossible. 2-run single. I don't know if the D-backs had the shift on Iglesias or if Marte was positioned behind the second base bag, but that ball doesn't get past the pitcher. It hits Melanson. It made a pretty loud impact sound, but Melanson was fine. He was able to quickly pick it up and make an accurate throw to first base. So it didn't show any signs of pain after the play was made. So sounds like he's probably a situation where he's fine. Probably just ice up that leg from there, and that's kind of a situation where the D-backs definitely needed a start like that from Kelly. Obviously, 8 2/3 is above and beyond the call, and the fact they didn't have to burn the guys that they've been running through the last week, pretty much running to the ground. And I complained about this in a couple threads. It's like those guys got another day off. Kennedy, Ramirez, Mansupply, another day off. That's critical. These guys were overworked these guys were worked pretty hard on the road trip, so giving the entire team 2 days off, and then your probably your freshest arm being your closer was a good. I guess that was the one silver lining to losing Melanson for a week. He was their freshest arm for this game in a situation they would need someone to get that final out. So anyway, yeah, the Diamondbacks now join the rest of the National League West on the right side of 500. It's going to be interesting to see how that division plays out. Obviously, not all of them are going to finish above 500, but the D-backs after 27 games seem watchable, but that's what we thought last year. Let's see where they're at 40 games. And so we'll find out in a couple weeks when they hit that 40 game mark at the end of this, after the end of their next road trip. I have a pretty good idea if this team is going to be a 70 wins team or a team that can actually push above 500. I don't think this team's going to be picking in the 23 lottery. No way. Although there's certainly some positions where if you feel like it's a house of cards, but if the pitching can hold up until July, I think if the starting pitching holds up until July, I think they'll be fine. They might make a run at 500. Like I said, help is on the way. Alec Thomas is not too far. Greg Jameson in AAA, Blake Walston AA. Some promotions. Lester Coney's had 3 good starts. He's had 4 starts. He's had 2 good, one bad, 1 mediocre. And of course, Brandon Pfaadt's pretty much Mr. Consistency. AA rotation. So we'll see how if the team can get some value out of in the lineup out beyond just Pavin Smith and Daulton Varsho, who have been the best 2 hitters on the team, and it's not even close. Best 2 hitters. So I guess that 2017 draft looks a lot better in 2022. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the like button as well. Not going to put a fancy thumbnail like we did for the other games, but just wanted to catch up real quick since I've been a little bit lazy this week.